What's up, everybody? It's your boy Walking Mondu. Welcome back to Wrenchtrenchers Garage, and today we're gonna see if we can get the Mustang on all four of its wheels and maybe moving on its own power if it's possible. But before I actually get into that, I want to go ahead and just dedicate this video to Mr. Buddy Williams. That's my grandfather. Unfortunately, I lost him earlier this month. Actually, to be the exact date is July 1st. Nickname Buddy, and I tell you what, to earn a nickname like Buddy, you got to be a pretty special person. You have to really be someone that everyone gets along with, and that's exactly who he was. So I'm gonna go ahead and dedicate this video to my grandfather, Mr. Henry Buddy Williams. So with that being said, guys, we're gonna go ahead and see if we can get this car on its wheels and moving on its own power. But there is a lot to do, and I have to work tonight, so it may not all get done today, but we're gonna work on getting it done in this video. So guys, without further ado, this is the first thing we're gonna start with. Alright, so as you can see right here, we got some broken studs on this guy here, and I've already replaced one. It's a little shorter than the other one, but I did test it in the wheel and it holds just fine. It's plenty of thread, it works. Alright guys, so the way to do this is really nothing technical. Basically, you got a little bit of room back here where that hole is right there, where you can kind of knock these little guys out and basically just kind of bash them out with a hammer. Alright, so there you go. You just kind of bash these guys out with a hammer. You see they're kind of held in with these little things. And there you go. They're all out. Ended up going to the store, AutoZone, to get some replacement ones. They're not exactly like the other ones, but the thread is fine. It's a little bit shorter on the hold downs here, but they're the same size. They work out. So I'm going to throw those in there. It's one. And as you can see, this one over here, that's one I already put in, and it ain't going nowhere. So. And then once you actually bolt them in, they stay even better. So just gonna go around, just using an extension from a 1/2-inch extension, an old busted up extension, and then just hammering these on in. And there you go. They kind of just hammer on in. And that's where we're gonna be with it, guys. Alright, so in the meantime, I know he needs some rear brakes, so we're gonna go ahead and put the rear brakes on, then we can put the wheels on, and then we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna take this guy and we're gonna secure this guy somewhere that it needs to be secured at. And I think that's it, guys, for this. Okay guys, I just kind of wanted to show you one of the problems that I ran into while I was dealing with this, but that's the piston right here, right? So you have to find something to fit into those two little grooves on the outer part of the circle there, and then you have to turn it in order to turn it in. And this is not easy. It was almost, I thought it was locked up, but it just takes a lot of strength to turn those to get this in so that it can actually fit over top of the new brake pads. So what I have is this guy here, which is typically for JDM cars, because I know most Hondas, their rear brake calipers, you have to twist them in. So you have several different kind of configurations on this little cube that you can stick on the ratchet, and then you can turn those in. Still not easy. So because that caliper had some like worn spots on the gaps on them, what I ended up doing is, as you can see on this side right here, on that guy right there where I got some marks there, what I ended up doing was filing those down so that it would fit into that little pocket there, so I can get that to turn. So you can do what I did if you want and get an extra one of these, and then you can kind of file them and shape them to where you need for whatever specific job you have. So that's just basically what I did in order to make that work. So we're gonna go back on the time lapse and I'm gonna finish that up. So see you in a bit. Wanted to show you this before I started the other wheel, that I'm putting some new spine drive wheel locks on that thing because the other ones were just really crappy, and I just kind of like these black ones. They look good. Alright guys, well you can see how dirty and sweaty and nasty I am. It's because I have run into another bit of a problem, because at this point now, out of nowhere, the e-brake it just stopped working. I don't know why. It was doing fine, and then the minute I put the wheels back on and zip tied that guy out of the way, the minute I did that, the e-brake just stopped working, and I don't get it. I don't understand why it stopped working. I've fiddled with it. I've taken it apart. I've put it back together, and at one point I took it apart, put it back together, and it started working again. Then it failed again immediately. So I don't understand what's going on with it. I think it's got something to do with the self-adjusting mechanism. It might have to be welded shut just to eliminate it altogether. Now I do not have the self-adjusting setup for underneath, which I would never be able to get to anyway because the drive shaft is in the way. But it might come to the point where I might have to go ahead and drag this thing back out again, which really sucks because it's really difficult getting those cables on. And go ahead and doing a modification which requires me to weld the e-brake. So I don't know, it's being a pain in the ass. I'm gonna keep messing with it and hopefully I can figure something out. So okay guys, so I ended up taking the whole thing back out again, and I was just kind of looking at it. I was looking at some forums, and they were saying that what you should do with this thing is you should cut that little tab off, is what they were saying. I also saw a YouTube video, it was like a minute long. Guy cut that off and he removed this spring here, and it ended up setting it just fine. Now what I also discovered on this thing is there's this wadded up piece of rubber just kind of wadded up and stuck in there, and I don't know if that was keeping the self-adjusting mechanism from operating properly. Now I don't know if that was done on purpose or if it was an accident. But before I go to cutting things, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick this back in there and see if it actually works with the self-adjuster in there from the factory. Okay folks, so I went ahead and put this guy back in here just to see if the self-adjuster would work on his own without all that crap in the way, and it seems like it was only holding because that crap was in there. So now it still doesn't work. Everything's connected correctly, but it's still not. Just doesn't want to hold, and it's definitely in the mechanism. The cables are right. It's just not putting any tension on this guy right here because this guy isn't moving as I move the lever. So we're gonna cut this off to get rid of the self-adjusting mechanism. Like we said before, we'll probably be removing this spring, and I might be welding a little something in here just to ensure that things hold up. So we're gonna mess with that. We're gonna see if this actually works, this fix actually works, and then I'll see you guys tomorrow. Alright guys, it's the following day. So what we're going to basically do is we're going to make incremental modifications to this brake handle. Okay guys, so this is the engagement tab, and you can see how it sits right here. So basically what it's doing, it's not allowing this thing to put any tension on the cable right here. So you see the cable isn't moving at all, so therefore it's not engaging anything. But I see the first thing people do is cut this off, so that is the first thing I'm gonna do. And then I know there's people after that they typically remove this spring and then they weld this this tooth here. So before I get to the welding though, I've also seen one YouTube video where the guy made this work by just simply cutting this and removing the spring. But I'm going to start with this because it doesn't even seem like the spring has to actually be removed. So I'm going to try this first. So see you in a bit. Okay guys, so what you've seen is that I've cut this little tab off, and I went ahead and placed everything back together. Now it was kind of confusing at first because this little mechanism right here, you see how it catches on these teeth here? It was actually all the way back here. So while I was off camera, I kind of just struggled a little bit to make sure this caught on a tooth so that this wheel will actuate and it will pull the cable that is located in there, which you can't really see, but there's a cable right on the other side of this plate right here that's attached to this little wheel. So when you pull the lever, it engages this wheel, it allows you to pull this, and I did not remove the spring, but I'm gonna leave it there. I'm not gonna mess with it. It feels like it's fine. And now I've also discovered why this is a thing and why they weld this here. The reason why they weld this to like either the first, second, or third tooth, the reason why is so that this thing stays put and you don't adjust from here, you adjust from underneath. Well, I don't have one of those adjusting style from underneath, and it would be too much of a pain in the neck to do the adjusting from there, as I would have to take out the drive shaft. It would kind of suck. I don't want to do that. So I'm just going with this right here. Now I might try to find something to make this a little more stable, but for now it is not slipping off of the teeth. It does wiggle, which I don't really care for, but it doesn't slip off of the teeth. It seems to be just fine. I get a good pull here. You know what? That wheel ain't going nowhere. And if you disengage, come back, that wheel rolls, baby. And for the next thing I'm gonna have to do, we're going up under the car. Now, you know I hate filming under the car, and plus I have my good camera. There is some oil leakage right here. Okay, now that I got some light on the situation, alright guys, so you can see where the leak is coming from. This is coming from the low oil level sender, and this is screwed into the side of the oil pan, and you can see it's leaking right from here, and it's kind of just drizzling down and getting right down in here and then dripping down to the ground. Alright guys, so I'm going to remove that oil level sender, and I'm going to replace it with this guy right here. And basically this is all it is right here. It's basically just a rubberized rubberized metal like washer or gasket to keep it from leaking. Now, why the sender didn't come with one of these, I have no idea. But here's another crazy thing about this whole situation with this guy right here. Now, the oil level sender didn't come with one of these, right? So when I saw the leak, which was actually a little while ago, and I'm just now getting around to fixing it, but when I saw the leak and I went to order one of these, I saw that these were anywhere from $16 to $20 online. That's how much these were. So I was like, well, let's see how much they are at Ford. I know I might have to pay a little bit more, but at least I get it right away, and I wouldn't have to wait for it. So I went to Ford, and I asked them for one of these, and they gave me one, and you won't believe, you will not believe how much these are at Ford. Because it's a dealership, because it's Ford, I knew in my heart of hearts up and down that I was going to pay an arm and a leg for it, and I didn't. This was $1.06 at Ford. $1.06, all the way from 15 bucks, all the way up to 20 bucks. And then for $1.06, I get this thing from the dealership right there in stock. Total win. So this is what I'm going to put in now. I'm going to start draining some of that oil. And no, I'm not going to time lapse it because I hate going under the car with the camera. So yeah, you've seen oil being pulled from a motor before, so you're not going to see it this time. And then, okay guys, so I lied. I'm going to try it anyway. Alright guys, so basically you have this, and you have this with the lipped end here. It kind of goes down into a little divot there. That side goes on here. Alright, okay, but I probably did that a little prematurely, but you're going to want to put a little bit of oil on this. You can see where I had some thread tape on here, thinking that was going to do it. It didn't do it. So you actually need this guy. So I'm going to clean up this thread tape, and then put a little oil on here, and then I will go ahead and attach this thing, and then we'll be back under the car putting this back in. We'll put the oil back in, check the levels, should be good to go. Alright guys, so if you ever wanted to know my little method for reusing oil, basically I like to use a filter, just a paint filter that will do it, and then just go ahead and throw the oil down here in the filter, down through the little funnel, and then you can reuse the oil. And the oil's new, it doesn't even got a mile on it yet, so yeah, no need to waste money, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I think we're good to move on to the next thing, but I'm gonna have to do that tomorrow because I've run out of time again. So I'm gonna go and have me an adult beverage, soak in the jacuzzi, and take me a nap before work, and I will see you guys later. Hey, what's up guys? It's a few days down the line. We're gonna go and do a few more little things on the car, just trying to get more things buttoned up. The owner of the vehicle came by just the other day, but he had some concerns about this oil pressure gauge. So what I did was I called the speed shop that I purchased the little T-fitting from, and see if there's something with that, if they know anything about it. And they said it's an aluminum fitting which doesn't conduct ground. They said that the problem that's typically with that is you have to actually run a new ground from the sender to the block. Makes total sense. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go ahead and grab a piece of wire and find a way to ground the sender itself and see if we get oil pressure today. So let's try it. Okay, so that's what we got. See that purple line here? I just ran it up to here real quick just for now, just to see what I got. I might trim it up, I might tuck it down a little bit, might just leave it, who knows. I'm going to plug it up and start the car, see if we get oil pressure. Okay guys, as you can see, this thing's back out. This first attempt was kind of a fail. What I tried to do is use a small ground wire from here to a ground point on the block. And then, but once I put the wire on here, all it did was just direct ground it directly to the wire, and it gave me like, it just fired the oil pressure all the way up to the top, like giving it direct ground. So it's not going to give me a good reading doing it that way. What I'm actually going to have to do is I'm going to have to try to ground it from down here somewhere, because this is where it normally screws into the block. That's where it gets its ground from. And then, you know, once it sees oil pressure somewhere around here, it sends that ground up to this thing up here, which allows you to see what your oil pressure is. Alright guys, it's another day out in the shop, and I've been contemplating on how I'm going to approach this situation on grounding this oil pressure sender. And I think I've come up with a plan. I'm going to put you on a GoPro. I'm going to put you on a GoPro, and I'm going to go ahead and fabricate. I'm going to see if I can do a little bit of fabrication to come up with some sort of bracket that I can use to attach a ground line to for the bottom of this guy right there. So give me a second. I'm going to set you up on a GoPro, and we're going to see if we can make something happen. So. Alright, so I'm just showing you I had to modify the piece a little bit. I had to cut it just a little bit shorter because it just wasn't fitting, because I got to rotate the whole thing, and it was just kind of catching up here. So I trimmed some stuff, and basically what we're going to do is we're going to throw this self-tapper down in here, and then we're going to attach the wire to the self-tapper and give it a steel plate with this guy on here, and that should give it a pretty good ground. So we're gonna see how this works. Okay, so basically I cut the hole just a little too big for the self-tapper, so I ended up having to use like a nut and bolt combination on there. Not a big deal, just had to hunt one down. You can see down in there, I'm gonna give you a close-up on what I got here. Yeah, so that's my nut and bolt combination down here on the sender, running to the ground right here. So we're gonna start this car up, and we're gonna see if the oil pressure registers now. You know, I just found out I was a dummy. I never hooked it up. Ha! So give me a second. There we go. Now we're talking. Guessing it's working. Alright, it's about as good as it's gonna get. So it looks like I got that one working, so I'm pretty happy about that. We have oil pressure that actually works the way it's supposed to work now. And I think the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and just start kind of working on these little vinyl slats. I know it's dark out because it's my night off. I work at night, so hey, guess what? I get to work on this guy. Hopefully sometime tomorrow. It'll be great if I can get the wheels on this thing and actually take it for a test drive. But we're gonna see how this thing works out, because I'm gonna also do these headlights, but that's not going to be in this video. I'm going to do a full tutorial with on a separate video for restoring your lights using clear coat. So gonna get back into doing the vinyl. We're gonna see if we can get this thing on all fours, and that'll be it. But let's keep working and see what we can do. Alright guys, I got my little vinyl set up in here. Basically what I did was I put these little vinyl slats in there to protect the solenoid and some of the wiring. That wiring is fine, trust me, it's going all the way back behind there. I measured it with the wheel, and they are not in the way, they're not gonna get damaged. The rest of the wiring is way up in here, and when I put the wheel on, the wheel doesn't go too far up. I put it on, I measured, nothing's getting in the way. It's like that waterproof shower stuff. So it's really resilient and it's really easy to deal with. So I thought this stuff would be great, and it was only like $4 for like one long strand of it. But I gotta get another one for the other side. But I think this is gonna work. I might have to put another little self-tapper down there. And I think we're good. And then if I really have to go hard, I'll go ahead and throw some sheet metal in there too, just to give it a little bit more protection. But I think we're good. I think we're really good. But I'm gonna have to stop right here for tonight because the stores are closed, and I'm gonna have to get more of this stuff in the morning for the other side. And then once that's done, basically all I have to do is put the wheels on, and then I can see if this thing will go on its own power. So I'll see you guys in the morning.